we back with another little recap video, man. I just wanted to come on here and show the trade I took, pop it into somewhere on the screen at some point. Cause I know you're gonna say, oh, it's just back testing and this and this and that. Like, nah, brother, I took the actual trade. So coming into the session, I was like, okay, on the daily, we were somewhere up here. I marked out the midpoint of this daily wick, just because I know at some point it should have been engaged if we were gonna continue to sell off, right? So come into the morning, I see that we take sell side. We have this big wick that we left behind on Friday, and we trade up into this inefficiency. And if you notice how this 4 hour candle closes inside this gap still, so even though the wick traded up in there, the body still closed within this, so that kind of piqued my interest a little bit. When we come into the session this morning, this was the candle that had printed still, so we took out sell side into this gap, and I honestly wanted to see price come down into here because that's the daily wick, and that's the first hourly gap after taking sell side and trading up higher. So I wanted to see that kind of engaged at some point. On the 15, we're starting to see that we're respecting bearish order flow, right? So we come up into here, don't really make it, start selling off, leaving gaps open, stuff like that. So I was once I saw, where is it? That's 9:15, 9:30, right? So once I see this reaction to this order block here, so we have this reaction to the wick of the order block, and I'm like, okay, if we get anything to continue pushing higher, I might be interested in taking a long into midnight open, right? Because this setup here, we were already showing that this hourly gap was going to be inversed at some point, because we trade up into the top portion of it. Let me make it a different color so you guys aren't confused yet. So we trade up into this. At this point, with this wick right here, I was like, okay, we could still come back down and test this, maybe this. But when I see that we're still closing above the midpoint and pushing up aggressively, I had a limit order here. Stops were at the low of this order block here, and I would have been aiming for a 1 to 2, which lines up perfectly with midnight open. Obviously, I didn't get the entry because after we traded up into this, I didn't want to keep that limit on because this was an hourly gap that we could reverse off of. A 15-minute gap, sorry. So you see this here, and look what would have happened if I would have kept the limit order on. Would have got crushed, right? So at this gap, we still had an inversed here, and I had my limit here. Stop loss up here. Aiming on a 1 to 2, pretty much aiming for this gap slash the full take profit of 1 to 2. We could see this play out. We enter here, and I know you're probably asking, why would you take a short if we respected this? Because of this reaction to all of this price action up here. We come up, we take buy side, we trade into this bearish gap on the 15. See that? Bearish 15-minute fair value gap. We're respecting that. We're disrespecting this gap here. We're coming up and using this 5-minute gap as resistance now. So we inverse this 5-minute. And at that point, I'm like, okay, this hourly was already irrelevant for me, but I got stopped in profit for this. So I made 25 points because when we were so close here, I kind of trailed aggressively up to here. Yeah, I was like, I don't want to see price come all the way from here, disrespect this, and come all the way back here, being this close. So when the body was forming here, I kind of dragged my stop here and I was trying to follow it. So I got stopped right there in profit. So it was a good analysis because we still ended up trading down into that. It was just not with the follow through that we wanted, because 8-9 times out of 10 this just continues to dump at this time. So we missed our target by like 8 points, I believe. So it is what it is. Small profit is better than a loss. You're mitigating risk at the end of the day. Like, you're not trying to come on here and, you know, catch the whole move that's gonna burn you more times than not. And then we still kept respecting this gap, and it was delayed, right? 9 times out of 10 you see that it's 10 o'clock, you're gonna continue down or whatever. Even if I would have kept my stop, I think for next time what I journaled is, once we have another formation of an order block slash inversion slash bearish leg like this, I could trail to this swing high, which is the top of the order block, and I would have been safe until the full TP hit. But I would have been in this trade from 10:05 to 11:01, which isn't really what I like to do, because this could have easily went a complete reversal back to the highs if we would have inversed this. But hindsight is 2020. Take your profit and go. So we end up retracing and then eventually selling off into this wick, into the hourly gap. And yeah, so it's a win at the end of the day. It's just, I know a lot of people probably got stuck in here, chopped back and forth. Anytime it could happen to me too, because it would have been a tough read to just continue shorting it. Like, imagine you would have shorted here 1 to 2, you probably would have got stopped up here. You would have probably tried to go long here and say, okay, this is the final push, and short here, you would have got stopped here. Then you probably would have been blowing through your account, because this was what, 55 minutes of chop, up, down, up, down, up, down, and then finally taking the 930 low. So yes, I'll put the screenshot with the executions and take it from there.